Welcome back. In our lead story from the Caribbean tonight, at least 2 people have died and several others injured in clashes at Venezuela's border with Brazil, local media reports. Venezuelan security forces opened fire on a group of civilians who tried to prevent them from blocking the border. President Nicolas Maduro has closed the country's border with Brazil amid a row over the delivery of humanitarian aid. It comes as 2 rival concerts get underway on either side of a bridge linking Venezuela and Colombia. The clashes occurred when members of the community confronted Venezuelan troops on Friday morning in the southern Venezuelan town of Cumaracape. Troops then opened fire on individuals who tried to block a road with the aim of preventing military vehicles from passing, witnesses said. A local woman and her husband were killed, according to the human rights group Cape Cape. This could be a decisive weekend in the battle for the control of Venezuela. Outside forces backing opposition leader Juan Guaido are seeking to make twin assaults on not just the border with Brazil, but also with Colombia. Meantime, more U.S. aid has also been flown into the Caribbean island of Curaçao. AP's Luis Henao is on the Colombian side of the border.
I'm on the Venezuelan border with Colombia. Hundreds of thousands of Venezuelans have crossed this border, escaping severe shortages of food and medicine. President Nicolas Maduro denies that there is a humanitarian aid crisis in his homeland. He says that aid that is waiting on the Colombian side of the border, ready to come in, but that he has blocked, is only part of an effort by the opposition and the United States to oust him from power. Meanwhile, there will be concerts on both sides of this border this week. British billionaire Richard Branson says that he will stage a Live Aid-style concert to try to raise funds for suffering Venezuelans. The Venezuelan government says that it will stage its own concert on the Venezuelan side. Juan Guaido proclaimed himself interim president of Venezuela on January 23rd. The Venezuelan opposition leader says that Maduro did not win the elections properly, that it was a fraud because he did not allow opposition members to run. Guaido is backed by most of the international community, the United States, most of Europe, and most South American nations. On the other side, Maduro still retains the loyalty of the army, as well as the support of China and Russia.
That report there from AP's Luis Henao. We have a second angle to the developments surrounding Venezuela tonight, and it comes from our Rachel Bain.
As we continue to monitor the crisis-stricken Venezuela, in a further attempt to shut down the country, President Nicolas Maduro has announced the closure of Venezuela border crossings with Brazil. Maduro's move is part of a sustained bid to prevent tens of millions of dollars of humanitarian aid from flowing into the country. Speaking in a televised address from the country's largest military base in Caracas on Thursday, Maduro said the border with Brazil would be completely and absolutely closed until further notice. Brazil's government recognizes opposition leader Juan Guaido as Venezuela's rightful interim president and has pledged a delivery effort this weekend. The embattled socialist leader also said Thursday he would consider an imminent shutdown of the country's border with Colombia. Troops temporarily prevented trucks from Colombia borders from coming into Venezuela, resulting in scuffles between the military personnel and opposition members. More from Reuters news agency.
But after a few hours on the road, the convoy was temporarily stopped at a roadblock where witnesses say some opposition lawmakers scuffled with soldiers in riot gear. Guaido's vehicle continued, but his exact location was being kept a secret due to security concerns.
On Saturday, hundreds of thousands of volunteers are expected to help Guaido bring in food supplies, hygiene kits, and nutritional supplements. Lady Gomez, the opposition governor of Táchira, a Venezuelan state bordering Colombia, has offered state hospitals to prepare for casualties on Saturday when, in defiance of President Nicolas Maduro, an army of volunteers will seek to break the government's blockade of international relief. During the transportation workers' rally on Wednesday, Guaido called on supporters to march to military installations on Saturday. Here's some of what Guaido had to say in this Reuters report.
On the 23rd, we will go to each and every military post to demand humanitarian aid be allowed in, that they allow us to help and save lives in our country, and that we make room for us to open the humanitarian channel.
Maduro has refused to cede power, still having the support of the armed forces. The embattled president has rejected letting foreign aid into Venezuela, calling it a political show and a cover for U.S. invasion. For Primetime Caribbean, I am Rachel Bean.